You've been giving away your power your whole life, and you didn't even notice. Every time you reacted to someone who didn't deserve your attention, every time you tried to explain yourself to a person who was never going to understand, every moment you wasted your energy on the wrong people, you handed them a piece of yourself, a piece of your power, a piece of your peace. And they took it. Took it without thanking you, without deserving it, without giving anything back. But today, that ends. If this is the first time you're watching this channel, subscribe right now. Here we don't tell you what you want to hear, we tell you what you need to hear. Hit that bell, drop a like, and write in the comments, "I am untouchable," because by the end of this video, you'll understand why that sentence needs to come out of your mouth every single day. Now let's begin. I'm about to show you 7 dark psychology lessons that Niccolo Machiavelli refined over 500 years ago. Lessons that will teach you how to dominate without confrontation, how to win without fighting, and how to become completely untouchable simply by choosing when and to whom you reveal your presence. The problem with most people is that they operate on autopilot. Someone insults them, they react. Someone questions them, they explain. Someone tries to drain their energy, they allow it. And they think they're being strong because they responded, but they're wrong, completely wrong. The real power players move differently. They don't react, they don't explain, they don't waste a single second on people who don't matter. They guard their attention like it's the most valuable thing in the world. Because it is. Every billionaire, every truly powerful leader, every person who is genuinely untouchable, they all have one thing in common. They are selective. They don't respond to everyone. They don't show up everywhere. They don't hand out their energy for free. And that's exactly what makes them magnetic. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. Power is not about being the loudest person in the room. Power is quiet. Power is selective. Power is strategic. The first lesson you need to burn into your mind is this: your attention is gold. And just like gold, the moment you start throwing it around carelessly, you go broke. Broke of energy, broke of peace, broke of focus. Every time you give someone your attention, you're making an investment. Mental energy, emotional bandwidth, time. All of it poured into a person or a situation. And like any investment, you need to ask yourself, what am I getting in return? Most people never ask that question. A hater drops a comment, they respond. A toxic person starts drama, they engage. Someone disrespects them, they spend the next 3 hours crafting the perfect comeback. And what do they get back? Nothing. Just stress and wasted time. I know this because I've done it. I once sat in front of a person and spent hours of my life trying to explain my side, trying to make her see where I was coming from, trying to change her mind so she would at least understand my perspective. And you know what happened? Nothing. She had already closed her mind before I even opened my mouth. What was in her head was the truth, and nothing I said was going to change that. Facts, arguments, evidence, none of it mattered. She had already decided, and there I was, spending my energy, my time, my peace, punching a wall that was never going to give. That's when I learned something about people. There's a type that works like a turtle when it feels confronted. It closes its shell. You can knock, you can yell, you can explain with all the patience in the world. It's already locked itself inside. Every word you spend trying to crack that shell open is a punch into the void. Your hand hurts, your energy drains, and the turtle stays inside, untouched, unchanged, unmoved. Machiavelli understood this about power. The person who controls where their attention goes controls their entire life. Because attention isn't just focus, it's power. When you give someone your attention, you're handing them control over your emotions, your thoughts, your energy. So the real players create a filter. Not everyone gets access. Not everyone deserves a response. They ask one simple question: does this person deserve my attention? And if the answer is no, they move on. No explanation, no justification. Treat your attention like gold from this moment forward. Gold doesn't go to just anyone. It goes to the worthy. The second lesson is about the sharpest weapon that exists: silence. People fear silence because they think staying quiet is weakness. They think if they don't have the last word, they've lost. They believe silence means surrender. But the truth is the opposite. Silence is the most aggressive move you can make. When someone attacks you with words and you fire back with more words, you've entered their game. You're playing by their rules. You gave them exactly what they wanted: a reaction. But when you respond with silence, everything shifts. The game stops. The power changes hands. And the other person is left standing there talking to a wall, getting absolutely nothing from you. Machiavelli watched men destroy themselves by talking too much, reacting too much. The ones who rose to power knew when to speak and when to shut their mouths. Silence communicates something words never can: complete indifference. It says without saying it, "You're not worth my words. You don't even exist on my radar." And that destroys more than any insult ever could. I lived this firsthand. There was a person at my old job who made it her mission to get under my skin. She provoked. She poked. She used my weaknesses against me, hit exactly the spots she knew would bother me. And I made a choice. I stayed quiet. Not because I was weak, but because I saw clearly that if I lost my cool, she won. That was exactly what she wanted. So she kept poking, day after day, and I stood there, unmoved. And you know what happened? The people around us started coming to me. "How do you stay so calm?" I would have exploded if I were you. In that moment, I realized my silence wasn't just defense. It was a display of strength that everyone around me recognized. The person who tried to provoke me became small. Not because I fought her, but because I refused to come down to her level. It's the wolf that doesn't answer the barking. Dogs bark at the wolf non-stop, full of rage, full of desperation to be noticed. And the wolf keeps walking. Doesn't stop, doesn't look back, doesn't growl in return. Because the wolf knows that barking doesn't bite, knows that stopping to answer every dog would mean losing the path. And it has bigger things to do. When you respond to someone, you're validating them. You're showing they got under your skin. But when you say nothing, you rob them of that validation. The person sits in a vacuum of uncertainty. Did you see the message? Did it bother you? They'll never know. And that not knowing eats at them more than any response ever could. The more you talk, the more ammunition you give your enemies. Every word is information. Every explanation is a weakness they can exploit. But silence gives them nothing. They can't twist words that don't exist. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is control. It's a weapon that never misses. The third lesson is about strategic withdrawal. And this is where most people get it completely wrong. They think the goal is to vanish entirely, cut everyone off, isolate from the world. That's not power. That's running away. Real power comes from being physically present but emotionally untouchable. Showing up when it benefits you. Pulling back when it doesn't. Making people feel your absence even when you're standing right in front of them. Complete withdrawal is when someone disappears forever. That's not power. It's just an exit. But strategic withdrawal is when you're still in the orbit, but you've become unpredictable. Sometimes warm, sometimes cold. Sometimes available, sometimes gone. That creates something dangerous. Obsession. Machiavelli watched how the most powerful leaders maintained influence. Not by being everywhere all the time, but by being selective about when and where they appeared. They created scarcity. They made their presence valuable by making it rare. The person who drops everything every time someone calls becomes the backup plan. The person who's selective with their availability becomes the priority. The key: you stay in the game, but you don't let the game control you. You show up on your terms. You engage only when it serves you. That creates uncertainty in other people's minds. They can't predict you. They can't control you. They can't take you for granted. And uncertainty breeds respect. Your absence becomes a statement. Your unavailability becomes attractive. Your boundaries become your power. The fourth lesson is about the devastating effect of being ignored. Do you know what happens inside someone's brain when they're ignored? Chaos. The mind goes into overdrive trying to solve a puzzle that has no solution. It searches for reasons, creates explanations, builds entire stories, all desperately trying to understand why you didn't respond. And while that person is burning mental energy on you, you're not thinking about them at all. Psychological warfare without even participating. Human beings are wired for closure. We need answers. We need cause and effect. When you ignore someone, when you give them absolutely nothing to work with, their brain short-circuits. No closure, no explanation, just silence. And that silence becomes an open wound in their mind that never heals. Machiavelli watched leaders who responded to every critic end up trapped in endless cycles of defense. The ones who simply ignored their enemies watched those enemies destroy themselves through their own obsession. Someone sends you a hateful message. They want you to react. If you respond, even if you win the argument, they still won because they pulled you into their world. If you ignore them completely, they sit there staring at their screen, checking back, thinking about you for days, and you forgot about them 5 seconds later. When you ignore someone, you're telling them they don't exist in your reality, and that eraser hurts more than any fight. In a fight, the person is at least acknowledged. In silence, they're nothing. Invisible. Irrelevant. You don't need revenge or the last word. Your indifference is the ultimate destruction. Your absence is the punishment. The fifth lesson: erase the unworthy. Not everyone deserves to be ignored the same way. There are 3 types to eliminate. First, the real enemies, the ones scheming, spreading lies, sabotaging. Most people make the mistake of trying to expose them. They want justice. But Machiavelli would say, engaging with your enemies validates them. It gives them a stage. Instead, erase them. Keep winning. Keep building. Keep rising. Let your success be their torture. Second, the critics. People who create nothing, only tear down from the sidelines. They need you more than you need them. Without someone to criticize, they don't exist. When you react, you feed them. Cut them off with complete indifference. Success doesn't argue with criticism. It makes criticism irrelevant. Third, the energy parasites. Disguised as friends, they drain you slowly without you noticing. Always in crisis, always needing advice, always with a problem only you can solve. But they never get better. The problems never end. Because they don't want solutions. They want attention. And they make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. But protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's survival. All 3 categories get the same treatment. Erase them, quietly, completely, permanently. Stop responding. Stop showing up to their drama. Stop giving any piece of your attention. Your time is limited. Your energy is precious. And none of it should go to people who don't add to your life. The sixth lesson: build the armor of indifference. People manipulate you not because they're powerful, but because you haven't built the armor. Indifference isn't being cold. It's having control over what affects you and what doesn't. It's being so secure in yourself that external chaos can't penetrate your inner peace. Most people are emotional hostages. Someone insults them, the whole day is ruined. Someone disrespects them, they're angry for a week. Their emotions at the mercy of others. That's not power, that's slavery. Machiavelli watched powerful men fall because they were emotionally weak. Anger made them predictable. Pride made them easy to manipulate. The ones who survived built armor so thick that nothing stuck. I know what it's like to have an emotional trigger that people love to press. Just because I do my projects on a computer, just because I work from my computer, people assume I'm lazy. I have a disciplined routine. I'm up early, I go to bed late, I work all day. But just because I don't leave the house to go to an office, they look at me like I do nothing. Like the mental grind doesn't count. Like the only real work is the kind that leaves you sweating with a sore back. And for a long time, that got to me. I felt the need to explain, to justify, to prove I was actually working. And you know what happened every time I explained myself? Nothing changed. I just wasted energy trying to convince people who had already made up their minds. That's when I understood the metaphor of the spider. Someone looking at a spider sitting in its web from the outside thinks it's doing nothing. Motionless. Idle. But every thread of that web was calculated. Every knot was strategic. And when the prey falls, the spider has already built an entire empire while everyone thought it was sleeping. I am the spider. My computer is my web. And the people judging me from the outside are the insects who still haven't realized the web is already set. Today, when someone implies I'm lazy, I don't explain a thing. I know my routine, I know my effort. The opinion of someone who doesn't understand is irrelevant. To build this armor, identify your triggers. What makes you angry, defensive, desperate to explain yourself? Those are the cracks, and they will be exploited. What matters is becoming so indifferent to those situations that they stop being triggers at all. Someone calls you lazy? You know your work ethic. No response needed. Someone misunderstands you? Let them. Someone disrespects you. Their disrespect says everything about them, and nothing about you. When nothing external controls your internal state, you become impossible to manipulate, to break, to control. People will press the old buttons expecting the old reactions. And when they get nothing, they either respect you or leave you alone. Either way, you win. The seventh and final lesson. Ascend through calculated inaction. Most people think power is about what you do, how hard you work, how much you fight, how often you prove yourself. But Machiavelli understood that sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Calculated inaction is the art of winning by doing nothing. Understanding that some battles are won by refusing to show up. That some people destroy themselves without any help. That the patience to let situations resolve on their own saves your energy for what actually matters. I lived this. Someone was trying to hurt me, create problems, provoke me into reacting. The old version of me would have jumped into the fight, tried to control the narrative, burned through everything. But I did nothing. I stayed quiet, kept producing, and the person fell into their own trap. Without me lifting a finger, their true nature came out for everyone to see. The lies didn't hold up because reality told a different story. I didn't need to expose anyone. I gave space for the truth to do the work on its own. Someone spreading rumors? Let them run. Live with integrity. Produce results. The truth reveals itself without you saying a word. The people who matter already know your character. The ones spreading lies eventually look ridiculous. And you didn't spend a single drop of energy. Someone copying your style, trying to outdo you? Ignore them. Stay on your own path. While they're watching you and trying to catch up, you're creating distance they'll never close. Not because you were trying to win, but because you were never competing. You attract without chasing. You dominate without confrontation. Your silence becomes legendary. Your absence becomes magnetic. While everyone else burns energy on drama and reactions, you save yours for what truly matters. That's how you ascend. Not by climbing over others, not by fighting your way to the top, but by refusing to descend to levels that don't serve you. Protecting your energy so fiercely that only the worthy get access. Being so selective with your presence that your absence creates more impact than your words ever could. In this video, you learn to guard your attention like gold. That silence is the weapon that never misses. The difference between running away and strategic withdrawal. The devastating effect of ignoring who to erase from your life. How to build the armor of indifference. And how to ascend through calculated inaction. These aren't ideas, they're laws. And if you apply them with consistency and cold precision, your life changes. People will treat you differently. They'll respect you more. They'll chase you instead of you chasing them. They'll fear your silence because they know it means you're done with them. But this only works if you commit now. Next time someone tries to bait you into reacting, don't. Next time they demand an explanation you don't owe, don't give it. Next time you feel the urge to prove your worth to someone unworthy, resist. From this moment forward, you operate differently. You are untouchable. You attract through absence. You reign through silence. This is the brutal art Machiavelli perfected centuries ago, and now it's yours. Adversus omnia.